everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the best tips and advice about pregnancy, postpartum, and motherhood. So let's go ahead and get started. So I asked you guys over on Facebook and Instagram what your top tips and advice would be about pregnancy, postpartum, and motherhood. And you guys did not disappoint. I had so many comments and so many DMs, so I really wanted to try and get as many as I can in this video. I also have a list of ones that I personally want to share with you guys. So if it's not covered in the ones that you guys sent in, I will make sure to mention those. So I have read some of the responses, but I haven't read all of them. So I'm just going to be going through my phone and just reading them off to you. These are going to be completely anonymous. For those of you who don't know, my name is Courtney. I do motherhood and lifestyle vlogs over on this channel. I am currently 20 weeks pregnant with a baby girl, and I do currently have a 17-month-old daughter as well. So this is going to be my second round of being a mama. The first one is there is no shame in asking for help, and I completely agree with this. I'm probably going to agree with all of these. I think when you become a mom, even while you're pregnant, it's really hard to ask for help sometimes, especially because in your mind you're supposed to be able to be superwoman and do it all, but sometimes that's not the case, and I feel like it really does take a village to raise a baby. Ooh, this is a really good one. Go with the flow. Things are better when you learn them through doing them. And I'd have to agree 100% again on this one. I think that you can only prepare so much when you're becoming a mom, especially during pregnancy. Everyone's different, so I feel like your baby, your body, all of that is going to be a very different journey. So just kind of going with the flow, which I agree is the best advice when it comes to motherhood. Ooh, okay, this is really good too. You don't have to prove anything. You naturally had your baby no matter what you did, not use, or how they made their entrance. And I would have to agree. I know when I said that I was going to be getting an epidural, I had a lot of people say I need to do it naturally. That's not good for the baby. And then I had a fear that, I might have to have a C-section as well. Going into as a first-time mom, you don't really know what to expect. I went in not with a birth plan. I just wanted to have a healthy baby. I labored very quickly, so I was in a lot of pain. I ended up getting an epidural when I was already 10 centimeters, so I could have just kept pushing. I could have just went in and pushed, but I ended up just getting the epidural, and it saved me for pushing, and I have a healthy baby. You don't have to do it this way or that way. As long as you have the baby, that's all that matters. Okay, so the next couple are talking about postpartum depression and anxiety and just being aware of the warning signs of that, and that it is completely normal and to ask for help. And I did talk about this actually in my last video. I had talked about how I've been suffering with anxiety with my first pregnancy as well as with this pregnancy, and I completely agree. There is no shame in anxiety, postpartum depression, anything like that. So if you are feeling any of those things, definitely talk to someone. I actually have a link down below that will lead you to some phone numbers and as well as just some information to check out if you are dealing with postpartum depression and or anxiety during and after pregnancy. Okay, I saw this one and I have to agree 100% off the bat. I said, if anyone asks what you need, say food, easy meals. They were a lifesaver for us. And I actually wrote that down on my list. I prepped so much food before we had my daughter, and it just saved us. We did Instapot meals, crock pot, and then I also made a ton of breakfast sandwiches and just put them in the freezer so we could just easily pop them in the microwave and we had a meal. And it also saves a lot of money because your instinct is to just order pizza or takeout or anything like that. And yeah, so I just would have to agree. For my first pregnancy, we did not have any family around. We were living out of state, and so we didn't really have access to people bringing us meals and helping out and stuff like that. So I think prepping ahead of time for meals is absolutely the best advice. Okay, so this one is similar to one that I have written down. It says, do what you feel is right for you and your baby. Don't let anyone besides the doctor or nurses tell you how to have your baby. This is you and your family's journey. And I would have to agree, every baby, every pregnancy, every postpartum journey, all of that is completely different for everyone. So just try your best to just take what other people say with a grain of salt. Most of the time they're just trying to help, but at the end of the day, you know why your baby's crying, you know what's best for your baby and for yourself. Okay, this is another one that I had written down as well. Breastfeeding, exclusively pumping or formula, fed is best no matter how you do it. And again, I would have to agree. I was lucky and I was able to breastfeed my daughter for over a year. It was very difficult but very rewarding, and I'm just thankful that I was able to do that. But there's a lot of moms out there that, you know, are working and they have to pump, or you know, you have to give your baby formula, and that's okay as long as your baby's healthy and fed. That's all that matters. I think there's such a stigma around that, and I could just like rant about it for probably hours, but I'm not going to. So yes, fed is best, doesn't matter where it's coming from. Ooh, this is a good one. So don't compare yourself to others. It's really easy, especially postpartum, to look at people and be like, wow, they bounce back really quick, which again, I don't like that phrase. I don't think you ever lost your body. You just, okay, that's a rant for another time. But I just think not comparing yourself in where you're at in your postpartum journey. Every delivery is different, especially like if you had a C-section, that recovery looks a lot different, and depending on how you had your baby, and there's just a lot. And it makes it very easy to compare yourself to other people. And just remember that your journey is unique to you, and try your best. I know it's not always easy to just block out those thoughts of comparison and just focus on yourself and focus on your baby. You'll just be a lot happier mentally and physically. So this is a really good one as well. So breastfeeding doesn't always come naturally. It's a lot of work. And I would have to agree, when my daughter was born, they did, like as soon as she came out, they put her on my boob. Like she didn't even like do chest, she just went straight on me, and they wanted to make sure she was able to latch and everything like that. And I had never had a baby, so I'm, you know, awkwardly like bending over and like trying to like cater to holding this like fragile baby that I've never, you know, held. And it was hard. It was hard trying to figure out like positioning and if she was latching correctly. That first week when we got home, my boobs were so cracked and so sore, even with like all the butter, nipple butter and all of that on there. And it just got to the point where I was practically crying. It hurt so bad. So don't be afraid, again, to talk to a lactation consultant or try and figure out what works best for you and your baby. It's not always easy. It's not always rainbows and butterflies. And I do think that it's good for moms to talk about that kind of stuff, so we know we're not alone. Okay, I thought this one was funny. She breaks down, you know, her experience for baby number 1, baby number 2, and then this, talking about her baby number 3, she said was pretty cake. I was too tired and felt like if I hadn't figured it out with the first 2, I probably didn't need to know it. And I know that there's a lot more information in that post, but that's what stood out to me. I feel like at this point, I had talked about in a previous video, I'm not doing like a ton of crazy research. I feel like I kept my first one alive, so I'm just gonna try and do that same thing and kind of just learn as I go if things are different. But yeah, I just thought that was funny and so relatable. So this is a really good one. Guard the first few days postpartum. It's time you never get back. And I, again, would have to absolutely agree. I think the first 24 to 48 hours are usually kind of a blur. You're probably wide awake, but also exhausted at the same time and not really getting much sleep. Those first 48 hours are truly just amazing when it comes to bonding with your baby and bonding with your husband and just figuring out a whole new dynamic. And I absolutely love that time with my daughter, and I'm looking forward to having that time with a newborn. So yeah, I just think that is a really good one, and I'm definitely going to be doing that again with this baby. Okay, so this one is so true and so funny. Just get down to the nitty gritty. Take a stool softener for your first number 2. It was so painful for me because I didn't. I literally sat there and cried. And I would have to agree. I don't think I had the stool softeners, but I don't think I actually had to go, like had the urge or anything until like 3 or 4 days postpartum. And I remember that it was very painful. So yes, I would have to agree. Don't like prevent it from happening. Just do whatever you can to make it just a little bit less painful. I gotta love postpartum. Okay, and this one I personally don't have experience with, but this is a family member of mine, and I know her story. I know what her family went through, and she is seriously one of the most incredible women. If you're a NICU mama, this will resonate with you. To those parents who find themselves in the NICU with their beautiful little one, it doesn't last forever, even though in the moment it feels like it will. Again, I personally don't have experience with that. My heart goes out to anybody. I have several friends and family whose babies have been in the NICU, and all I can do is pray for you and say I feel for you, but I truly don't know what that would feel like now that I have my daughter. Just thinking about having that kind of experience would just be traumatizing, and that's only like a special kind of strength that you have to go through something like that. So that's a really good one. Okay, so this is the last one, and it says, don't listen to people's negative labor stories because all they'll do is stress you out and take the joy out of the anticipation, especially if it's your first baby. When I was pregnant, I found out that everyone liked to talk about how awful it was to give birth, and it scared me. Okay, so with my first pregnancy, I remember I did not want to push a baby out of my vagina. I thought that was just going to be absolutely horrible. And most of the stories that I was told were negative. They were scary and probably talking about all the horrible things that could probably go wrong. And I mean, it is good to be educated on possible scenarios that could happen, but I think at the end of the day, every labor is different, and thankfully my labor was very quick. I didn't even push for 10 minutes and she was here, and it was amazing. And I think I have more fear going into this second labor because I know all of the things that could go wrong, and I had such a great first one. I'm just nervous I won't have that with the second one. That's a whole other can of worms to open. But yeah, I would definitely have to agree. Take what people say with a grain of salt. Everyone's different. Every labor, every pregnancy, all of it is different. Okay, so now I'm gonna look on my list and see if there's anything that I didn't cover in the comments. Okay, I did write this one down, and it's gonna be kind of like, again, it's personal to me, but don't tell people your baby name ideas, wait till you decide it. So whether that's you're waiting till they're born, or you're like, okay, this is what we're naming our kid. Even though family and friends mean well, they are gonna have an opinion, and it's not always gonna be a good one. And I noticed with my first pregnancy that everyone had an opinion about every name that I was coming up with. And especially when it's your first, you're super excited. You're like, okay, I have a name picked out, and like it's gonna be this one. And then you're like, well, wait, I like this one. And it's fun to share with family and friends, like, hey, we're thinking about this name. Like, what do you think? And me personally, we didn't name our daughter until probably like 6 hours before we had her. And I liked it that way. I think having her name just be announced at birth just took away any like, hey, this is what she's named, and you guys just have to deal with it whether you like it or not. So that's just my little advice, is if you are easily offended, I would not share your baby names until you've picked one. As far as this baby goes, we actually do have 2 names. I think we've narrowed it down to 1, and luckily all our close family and friends that know the name absolutely love it. So we kind of won on this side, but with our first one, there were a lot of names that people had very strong opinions about. Okay, this one kind of goes along with postpartum. Just get the diapers. Get those Depends diapers for women. They are going to hold your ice pack, your pad, everything in a lot better than the mesh underwear. And honestly, when I got home, we just set up like a huge trash can in our bathroom, and I just switched a diaper every time, and it just really made me feel like more clean. And then I didn't have to worry about getting like blood on anything, like clothes, underwear, nothing like that. So just get the diapers. So the next one that I have written down is to listen to your body during pregnancy and postpartum. This kind of goes along with the everybody is different. And I know when I was pregnant with my daughter, I thought that I had to be working out all the time, and that I, shouldn't be taking naps, and I should just be go, go, go. And it ended up making me very exhausted. I ended up having like sciatic nerve pain and just a whole bag of problems because I thought I had to do what everyone else was doing, and I thought I had to feel the way everyone else was feeling at that time in their pregnancy. The biggest thing I got was like, wow, you're that far along and you're barely showing. And a lot of people would think that's a compliment, but for me, it just made me like worry that like my baby's tiny, and you know, is she healthy, and da 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 da. So listen to your body. If you feel good and the doctor says your baby's okay, everything else that comes along with it is probably normal. And also with postpartum, that recovery is different for everyone. I mean, some people heal a lot faster than others, and I think postpartum's like the biggest point I'm trying to make is listen to your body. Don't feel like you need to start working out right at 6 weeks, or that anything's wrong with you or abnormal if you're like still bleeding after a certain point. So as long as your doctor says you're okay and everything's okay, then that's all that matters. All right, that is it for all of the tips and advice about pregnancy, postpartum, and motherhood. Thank you everyone who participated. Make sure you are following me over on Instagram though, because I do like to do polls over there and get some ideas for videos and topics, and I really enjoyed doing this. I thought it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot of stuff. I think when you're pregnant, especially if it's your first time, getting advice from second-time moms, third-time moms, 100-time moms can be helpful. So if you are expecting your first baby, congratulations. Comment that down below. That is awesome. And if you found this video helpful, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you are a second-time mom or a third-time mom and you have some tip or advice that you'd like to give to share with everyone, make sure you do comment that down below as well. And make sure you are subscribed. I have been posting at least 5 to 6 times a week. I do, again, mostly just sit-down videos talking about pregnancy, motherhood, and lifestyle. So I hope you guys enjoy. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!